Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Asked is the only tool to access live People Also Asked data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
Hello. So I'm going to take you back, not too far back, but essentially to the 2nd of December last year. This is my office. I just got home from a long day in the office. We have the biggest pitch we've had in years tomorrow. We've been working on it for weeks. One of the things we've been working on is a brand index looking across search, social, and branded search volumes to understand who is growing and shrinking to use it. It's the first 20 minutes of the talk. It's the cornerstone of it. I just got a call from a developer who said that, who's been working on it, that he can't get all the API calls to work and he's giving up. Thanks, mate. So I've got to fix it. I've got 4 hours to do it. But first, I've got to put my 4-month-old daughter to bed. After plenty of tears, mine, not hers, I go back to work. And essentially, I have to fix it. With no other option, I look at ChatGPT and I ask it how to do it. It tells me it can help. And then in minutes and seconds, it's read the API documentation. In about 30 more minutes, I have a working prototype that can do it, that looks like this. And in hours, it's almost pulling all the data, and I can see it appending. There are 26,000 rows of data from 4 API sources that I need to pull, or I need to do 20 minutes of small talk. And anyone that knows me knows that is my worst nightmare. So I go to bed. I wake up in the morning, put it all in the database. It looks like it's there. I'm hopeful. I head into the office. This is what it looked like. So it's a brand growth index that enables us. It's actually on our website. So if you're interested, search Kaizen brand index and you'll find it. It shows all of the brands, the top 1,000 brands in the UK based on vertical, and showcases who is growing based on search volume, branded search interest, and Instagram followers. It's really interesting. We use it. The client loved it. It went so well. But I've actually got something to admit. I'm not a developer, and at that moment, I'd never, ever coded an API call that had worked. Zero. I tried it because as SEOs, we all think we know how to code, but nothing had ever actually worked. And I did this. It was at that moment that I fundamentally realized the power of AI, and it changed the way that I approach the 4 months. I'm the CEO of Kaizen, and I can pick some of the stuff I do, and I spent the next 4 and a bit months spending all my resting minutes understanding this, because I realized that if I could do that, it will change everything that we do. First, I want to talk about a quote. Steve Ballmer, a very informed man in tech, once said, "There is no chance that blank is going to get any market share." Steve Ballmer, very well informed, head of Microsoft. What could he possibly said this about? He could have said about the internet, AirPods, Spotify. No, he said about the iPhone, the greatest selling phone of all time. So where we sit in this room today, or stand, in my case, you don't want to be on the wrong side of history in terms of what's actually happening. So when you look at it, you think there's no chance that AI is going to fundamentally change SEO. I think we're wrong. It's going to change everything we do. And today I'm going to talk about how it's changed already the processes we're doing and how we're using automation to fundamentally do different stuff. So if you're back in this room next April and you're still manually getting data, you're falling behind. If you're still manually analyzing analytics, you are falling behind. If you're not mapping your processes to automate them, you are falling behind. And if you're not learning how to use AI to change your workflows, you are falling behind. And I've been to multiple conferences, Agency Hackers, AI is one of the better ones, but when I've spoke to my peers, clients, and actually chatted to them about our use, this is how most people are using it. So in the very bottom end, when you talk to most people about AI, they go, oh yeah, I'm using it. And what they actually mean is I'm using ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, whatever. Some of them have a better systematic approach to it. For example, they have prompt banks and they know how to use it, and they have a custom GBT. But the returns on that upwards curve is so incremental, it's ridiculous. So if you start building workflows using AI, if you then automate those workflows using agentic AI, and if you create bespoke trained workflows, the returns in terms of the analysis you can do is so much greater. But I want to take you back to 2018. Well, it's really anything in between 2018 and 2022. And fundamentally, if we landed a new client, the team would do this. They would map the keyword universe. They would analyze backlinks. They'll create top-performing offsite pages. They'll create keyword opportunity. They'll create priority pages. They'll create a business case. This would take them 3 days and 9 hours. I looked to ClickUp. That includes presenting it to clients. So it's probably 2 days realistically. On a rainy Tuesday last week, we ran our prototype that did all of those steps in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. So I'm going to show you what that actually looks like to give you a taste of it. Don't worry, it's not going to be 8 minutes long because that would be very dry. This is what it looks like. So it starts by you putting your primary domain and your competitor's domains. You can see it typing here. It uses SEM Rush API and a couple of other APIs that I'll talk through later. You select which of those stages you would like it to do. You select how aggressive to do the keyword targeting. You press continue. It then starts going off and pulling that data to analyze it in a way that you can understand. It then starts telling me what the keyword overlap in between those competitors set I've outlined is.
Okay.
Then it starts categorizing the keyword using Gemini's API to tell me what are the keyword categorization. Remember when you used to have to do that, it took ages? It tells me what they are, what the traffic is, what the average rank is. It gives me examples of keywords in each and every one of those keyword sets. Then it prioritizes the pages. This is basic logic-based rule that you all do. So this will be things like, am I ranking relatively well? Could I rank better? It tells me what those priority keywords are. It saves that and we'll look at those priority keywords a lot later. Then it starts doing more clever stuff. So rather than my team, when they try and analyze it, they'll look at one or two things. This pulls all of the SERP information for the top performing people in those priority keywords and stores it. We'll come back to it later. It tells me basic backlink data of them versus competitors. Then it tells me the top link competitor non-homepage pages. It keeps going. It goes, what is the backlinks for the top 5 people in those SERPs for those priority keywords? Then this is where it gets really clever. It uses natural language processing to get an understanding of where a meta rewrites by Google, where in between the top 5 performing people and on Google, has it rewritten something in the meta and page title. And then it summarizes that lovely for me, tells me in Alicante, add a bit more cultural relevancy. Then it does the last piece of work. And this is it's good, but also frightening. What it does is it tells me what are the upper funnel search terms that someone searching for best holidays 2025 might be searching for. And it spits out on a long list. Then it goes and uses SERP data to pull the top performing people in the SERPs and then analyze what they're actually writing about. And it does this in a detailed level that's scaled beyond, because it really, when you think about it, LLMs are so much better at understanding Google algorithms than we are. And then it prints arguably a too detailed brief for me here. All in 8 minutes. It's frightening, but the same point is revolutionary towards what we can do. And this is all of basically the workflow of every single part of it that you'll see. Keywords going in. The yellow stuff is an action or an API call. Sorry, the red stuff's an action. The yellow is an API call. The blue is intersections with AI. They're particular models. But the interesting thing is, if you look at realistically all that workflow, there are only, I think, 4 intersections with AI. So it's a lot. I haven't got time to run through that all with you today. So instead, I thought I'd focus on the things I wish I knew on that stressful December night that I've learned now. So here are the 5 things that I've learned in those 5 months that I wanted to share with you. The first, depressingly, is that I've spent the last 15 years just essentially being quite good at Excel. It's like 15% of my personality, I would say. And now it's redundant, it's obsolete. Know where ChatGPT is better than you, accept it and move on with it. Because fundamentally, ChatGPT with certain things like code or even Excel numbers, if you think about reporting, the way you look at it is like a rows in a spreadsheet. The way ChatGPT looks at it is like Neo in the Matrix, where it all turns to numbers. It understands it with such depth that you can't. Realize where that is, allow it to do the work that it's better than you at. The next is how to create, and I think it might be quite readable, but there's a QR code coming up in the bottom corner that links to all these resources and a couple of other things. But this is the prompt I now use when I'm trying to do my first API pull. So say, for example, the brand index looks at all of the competitors to look at the number of keywords, the number of traffic they have in the last 12 months, their branded search volume for their key branded term, and their Instagram followers. Say you wanted to pull that, it would be so manual and so hard. If you want to create an API call, you say, read this documentation, a link to the documentation, using the example of this, and all the API documentations, they normally have a box on the right that shows an example snippet of code. Copy that, select Python, because that's the language that I'm going to talk about a lot. Copy that, paste it into ChatGPT. Write me Python code to do a call for a specific technical name. For example, domain organic, tells you the organic traffic of a domain. Specify that, ChatGPT gets lost otherwise. Here is my API key. If you tell it that, it will have a good first iteration of code that you can use. Where do you put that? Google Colab. It is this beautiful, previously Python used to be quite inaccessible because you have to use Jupyter Notebook, you'd have to upload it, run a command thing, there's a QR code to loads of resources, you just paste your code in there. Press run, there's a little play button in the top corner, it will run, it comes up with errors occasionally, copy that, point it back to ChatGPT, go and sort this out, come on mate. The other option is if you don't want to do it in Colab, you can do it in Google Apps Script. Google Apps Script is the same, but JavaScript based. So it will, ChatGPT can write you code that you can run in your Google Sheets, and it will enable you to ultimately run things like functions like pull backlink data or pull the page title, whatever it might be you want. So that's where to put it. But essentially, if you have any process, it can be automated. So this is an example of a prototype we're working on currently because I can't really use GA4. Can't do it. I feel like an old man. This is me with GA4. Not great. I'm getting old. But any process. So what we're currently building is, to save me going to GA4 and looking like that grand, I have a chatbot that I can put in there and go, please can you pull me organic traffic, top performing pages year on year. We then have AI that intersects that and knows what API calls are. Then it creates the API calls, it pumps it out in Python, it will run it off, it will collect the data and put it into a sheet for me. That's great. But if you think about what is next and what is the very, very obvious, tangible next step of that, is instead of me understanding that sheet, like Neo in the Matrix with the numbers, ChatGPT or whatever AI platform understands it. It is so much better at doing it, and you have to lean on it for those things. The next is very, very important that when you start doing this, I'm really spoiled in my position that I can invest time, effort, development in this. But if you start building any sort of interface, the hardest things with AI is how can I ingest data? How can I structure that data? That is the hardest challenge. Because if you gave ChatGPT a CSV of something, you'll be able to understand it. But how do you continually do that? And how do you build it in a future-facing way that means that your model won't be extinct if ChatGPT is bought by Elon Musk or something else? What you do is you have an input source in one lane that you cut off. So that can be an API, that could be a paste of data from you. You have your data ingestion, your data structuring, then you tap that into an AI model. it goes into the AI model, comes out with output. So it may be, for example, the bit around when I asked it to do the meta rewrites. I input into it, here all the SERP data, here's all the website data. Can you analyze this as a clear, immediate, direct task with a really well-structured thing? Then it comes out, you get the insights, it injects them back into something, and then it puts an output. You want that central line structured to remove any risk in ChatGPT disappearing or the model getting a bit bad or something else. The next is Hugging Face. ChatGPT and other there are so many more. Like it is like saying all of technology is Microsoft Office. It's not true. Hugging Face, which has a terrible name but is a great platform, has over 1 million AI models you can use. So say, for example, you, by the end of the day, need to classify 1,000 images based on background color. It can do that. There's a model for it. If you need to look at videos, analyze the videos, and tell me if someone swears in it, it can do that. If you need to look at text toxicity of comments on different Daily Mail or The Sun, it can do that. Pick models that are well-suited and specialized to it. So I've actually got a free Colab tool that the team have worked on. So what this does is in that lovely workflow that I demonstrated, essentially that's a link to the page, and I think it's the top one on the left. It is a Colab script that we pre-written for you with instructions that if you take a SEMrush API key and a Gemini key, there are instructions how you can get Gemini key. I was going to tap Marcus up for SEMrush API key for you, but he's run off. But if you have an SEMrush API key and a Gemini key, it will download you and your competitors, like I demonstrated. It will categorize them using Gemini to save you that effort. And in seconds, you can get an insight. So this is what it looks like. So if I'm ever going into a pitch, I've never heard of the brand, they're a smaller competitor against bigger competitors. I put them in as the primary domain. I put in bigger competitors. It tells me their top performing keywords, a breakdown of them versus future people. It tells me examples of the keywords. It's very quick, and it does it in minutes for you. So this is a first foyer, hopefully, for you into the journey of how you can use it. So very quick, but what about this in the future? It's a small thing now, but fundamentally, the way we see it is the future is so, so exciting. The future is all of you doing your work that you love best. It's not you going into GA4, which is my worst nightmare, or pulling data from manual sources to append it, or going and looking at stuff. It is you structuring the data so you can do the things that you excel at. And if you look at the speed you can do that, rather than optimizing small parts of a website because you have to focus in and manually look at it, it can efficiently tell you that at such greater scale. And it is exciting. Like, we are literally the pioneers of this in marketing, and it's going to disrupt all industries, but marketing, it's an opportunity for us to shape it. And the top 5% that adopt it, that take it and run with it, will really change it. So I thought it'd be really, really apt for me to finish on a metaphor that keeps me up at night, generated by AI. And that is of a metaphor that if I'm back in this room, or if you're back in this room in 12 months' time, and you haven't made any progress to this, and all your competitors have, ultimately, you are riding on a donkey while they drive past in a Ferrari. One of my team, very kindly, or not, pointed out that a donkey would actually be more efficient in a desert, but it kills the metaphor, so please don't go into that. I'm Jeremy, thank you for that. The QR code gives loads of resources, so we're actually doing an AI masterclass for anyone that's interested, where we're running through this and prototyping stuff. And to me, it's such an exciting opportunity that we can all pioneer in this room. Thank you very much.